Right now, on to the point. The search for a missing teen in the Calaveras River, the latest on his disappearance. Plus, red light cameras catching those breaking the law, aiming to save lives. But one county is taking them down. And a story you'll only see on ABC 10. Millions of taxpayer dollars stolen from the most vulnerable using EBT cards.
It was over $700, almost $800 gone, wiped out completely.
We investigate the problem and the fix.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. We have a lot to get to, but first tonight, we want to start with that missing student. He's been missing for more than 24 hours after allegedly jumping into a Stockton river after a fight at Stagg High School. At this hour, crews have stopped searching for the night, but plan to resume tomorrow. The search has been taking place along the Calaveras River, and San Joaquin County Sheriff's deputies say the 15-year-old ran off following a fight involving 4 students on campus Thursday afternoon.
Administration broke it up. They weren't sure if 2 of the teenagers were actual students because they had ski masks on. And so those 2 students ran.
A school resource officer falling behind the students reportedly told the teens to stop, but the 2 teens allegedly jumped into the river, and one teen was found in the area and told the officer his friend may still be in the water, and crews have been searching for that teen on and off since 2:30 yesterday afternoon. They plan to resume the search tomorrow morning. And red light cameras. You see them around Sacramento City and County at the busiest intersections in our area, and we all know how they work. If you run a red light, you'll see a flash and then you'll most likely get a ticket. But our Jeannie Nguyen found out that those cameras are going to come down soon.
It's nonstop. It's such a busy road.
For the past 7 years, Lupe Ortega has come to Broadway and 21st every day for work as a server at Pancake Circus. She says the traffic at this intersection has only gotten worse over the years. Our camera even caught some drivers running the red light.
People run the red light all the time.
The camera at this intersection helps Ortega feel safe by catching drivers running red lights. But now, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says the red light camera program has ended.
We eliminated that bureau altogether as of March 10th.
The program started in 2011 and cost the Sheriff's Office $898,000 a year for all cameras at 23 locations throughout the city and county. The Sheriff's Office says it stopped making sense financially.
The entire design of the program was to remain cost neutral. This was never designed to be a revenue generator or worst case scenario, kind of what happened now is where we're losing money from it.
That means drivers are following the rules, but the Sheriff's Office says it still has more than 17,000 open cases from these cameras ticketing people. Because the cameras are no longer working, that means those tickets,
they're all dismissed. We've recommended to the courts to dismiss all those cases because we no longer have staffing for that bureau to provide any sort of support to the courts for it.
For Ortega, the thought of no constant oversight at this intersection makes her concerned.
It's a little scary because, I feel like now people are going to take advantage of it. They already drive crazy down this road as it is.
While the Sheriff's Office has no plans of bringing the cameras back anytime soon, they are now relying on help from Sacramento Police and CHP to help keep the roads safe.
And the Sheriff's Office says the $898,000 used on these cameras will go to fighting retail theft, human trafficking, and violent crimes and homelessness. And speaking of the Sheriff's Office, take a look at this. In just 2 days, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department arrested 96 people for retail theft, recovering more than $8,000 in products. Now, people ranging from 11 to 63 years old were either arrested or detained. 9 out of those were felony arrests. And this is a problem that has been plaguing our state. Right now, California law only allows law enforcement to arrest people for felonies if they steal more than $950. The rest are cited for a misdemeanor and released. Is the city of Sacramento violating the U.S. Constitution when it clears homeless camps during extreme weather? That's the question before the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. The Sacramento Homeless Union is suing the city, claiming moving unhoused people during extreme weather is dangerous and subjects them to something called state-created danger. Now, in violation of the 14th Amendment. Now, the city argues clearing camps does not fall under the state-created danger doctrine. The panel of 3 judges heard oral arguments today and will issue their decision at a later date. And then a health warning for you tonight. A case of measles is confirmed in Stanislaus County. The county's public health services says it's from an unvaccinated child who recently traveled out of the country. Investigators are looking into possible exposures, but for now, all known exposures happened in healthcare settings. Still ahead tonight, dozens of you reached out about your EBT benefits being stolen.
I called in and was told there's $0.00 on your card.
I went to try to pull the money out to go pay the rent, and it wouldn't let me.
It's costing taxpayers millions of dollars in reimbursements. And tonight, we're getting answers about what's being done to fix it.
Winds currently 15 to 25 miles per hour in the valley. How long these strong winds and gusts are expected to last into the weekend?
All right, let's take a look at our weather with meteorologist Carly Gomez. Really windy outside today.
Yeah.
Things are kicking up.
Really kicking up. We're getting some allergies, people complaining about having watery eyes and sinuses. Well, the wind gusts are definitely playing a part in that today. You're looking at 38 mile per hour wind gusts recorded in Sacramento with 37 in Fairfield, 31 Stockton, Modesto. We even saw very strong wind gusts into the foothill spots, pushing 60 to 70 miles per hour being recorded with 35 in Truckee, 29 in South Lake Tahoe. Now, high winds are also in effect. Now, we're having a high wind warning for these Sierra spots. Meanwhile, wind advisory in the valley. We could be seeing anywhere from 40 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts, but even pushing 60 to 75 mile per hour gusts at some of the peak spots there. This is going to be in effect until 5 p.m. on Friday, so we will have about a 24-hour period of time where we're still getting some strong winds that could still cause some damage to trees, pushing trees down, as well as pushing them on power lines, meaning we could see some power outages, especially in those foothill spots, making travel very difficult. Now, we are seeing the low and the high pushing up against each other here, and that's funneling the winds in out of the north and out of the northeast. That's creating some strong winds for us, but also some Santa Ana winds in Southern California there. The future wind gusts will continue into our overnight hours. Strong wind gusts in the coastal range as well as the Sierra spots. And again, by 5 p.m., things begin to slow down for us, becoming light for the weekend and warm this weekend as well. We do have one shot at some light flurries for the high Sierra spots near Yosemite. Otherwise, clear skies in the valley, and we are looking at plenty of sunshine in the 70s, pushing into next week. A beautiful St. Patrick's Day at 73 degrees. Alex.
Next, on To the Point, millions of your taxpayer dollars meant for the state's most vulnerable are being stolen off EBT cards. We're getting answers about how it's happening. Watch our full investigation right after the break. Criminals are getting smarter every day, and now they're preying on the most vulnerable, draining millions of dollars from EBT cards that people need to survive. And your taxpayer dollars are paying for the reimbursements. Benefit recipients throughout the state reached out to our To the Point team asking, how is my information being stolen? Is this an inside job? And what is being done to fix the problem?
Inside Kevin's South Sacramento apartment.
I'm a foodie, so I love to cook.
It's hard to miss the giant cooking rack. The pots and pans tell his story, and he swears by his family's recipe. Holding on to faith, trust, encouragement, understanding, good health, and consideration despite falling on hard times.
The fear of not being able to have something for a decent dinner each night.
The father of two lost his job in 2023. He reluctantly signed up for CalFresh, California's food assistance program, and got an electronic benefits transfer card, also known as an EBT card.
It has allowed me to continue to buy food, to be able to eat and feed my kids and survive during this time.
The state deposits money on these debit cards each month to recipients who qualify for food and cash assistance programs. The program is run by the California Department of Social Services. For millions, these EBT cards are survival. But every time Kevin goes to the grocery store, anxiety creeps in at the register. Several incidents with his EBT card being declined can do that.
And I thought, what the heck's going on? So I called the number on the back of the card, and my balances were zero.
His account drained, his EBT card information stolen.
So it was over $700, almost $800 gone, wiped out completely.
California has been hemorrhaging money the last few years trying to reimburse benefits recipients like Kevin receive, victims who've had their EBT benefits stolen. According to CalMatters, last year, California was losing about $10 million of your taxpayer dollars a month to EBT theft. Oftentimes, benefits are stolen repeatedly. Kevin says just a few months after his benefits were reimbursed, they were stolen again, along with the monthly benefit he had just received.
$2, and that was it. The rest was wiped out. You take it personally. I thought, what the heck am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong here? But I called in again, and this time I was on hold for literally a day, almost 8 hours.
Kevin received 3 EBT replacement cards in 1 year alone to protect his account.
It just weighs on you. I try not to let the kids know, but my son's aware. He'll say things like, we don't need that.
Investigators say thieves are scamming and skimming EBT cards. Scamming is when fraudulent text messages, emails, or calls are sent to people to get sensitive information. Skimming is where someone inserts a device at a grocery store, gas station, or bank, capturing a cardholder's information. In Sacramento County, skimming is the most common type of theft. The county says it happens more frequently at convenience stores with ATMs.
You're dealing with real victims. You're dealing with people in person that are desperately waiting for these funds so that they can take care of themselves and their family.
Jana Haynes with the Sacramento County Department of Human Services says the county has 2 investigators that strictly work on EBT claims. Those 2 sworn peace officers didn't go on camera for their own safety and autonomy needed to do their jobs, but they did give us their insight. They say EBT theft concerns started back in 2019, and they warned the California Department of Social Services when they cracked a major case.
One person being able to defraud that many people, we knew that there was a huge problem.
Sacramento County EBT fraud investigators say Jawan Gibson was able to scam over 1,600 victims in more than 30 counties in California.
He was able to amass about $1 million in cash over a year.
Gibson pleaded guilty to multiple counts, including grand theft and possessing access to card-making equipment. He was sentenced to 48 months in state prison and ordered to pay over $800,000 in restitution to reimburse victims. Sacramento County, like many other counties, is seeing a significant increase in EBT theft. Take a look at 2023. Sacramento County data shows just in the month of January, recipients were reimbursed more than $550,000. Throughout the year, reimbursements continue to climb. In December alone, the county ended up reimbursing more than $1.6 million. By the end of 2023, Sacramento County reimbursed over $12 million, and that's just 1 year alone.
If you multiply that over many years, over many counties, you can imagine the prevalence of the problem. It's hard on taxpayers, and all of that money comes out of the general fund. And so it's a huge financial impact as well as a mental and emotional tax on the people that are getting this money stolen. Our customer service bureaus are extremely busy. We can only process so many people through the course of the day.
How much money are you guys able to recover?
Probably less than 5% of the time are we able to recoup that money.
And when you are able to recoup some of that cash, what happens to that money afterwards?
It'll go back into the general fund so that the counties that have paid out additional benefits can get some restitution. But like we said, it's never going to be the full amount.
We need to develop a balance between accessibility and integrity.
Sean Ferris and Greg Mahoney lead the California Welfare Fraud Investigators Association.
Because it is such a prolific problem, the counties are stepping up.
The nonprofit has been around for more than 50 years, investigating public social service programs, including EBT theft. Both Sean and Gregory also supervise their own welfare fraud departments in their own counties.
Part of the reason why California is so ripe for the picking is we give so much out.
The CWFIA says they've been working with the state to change their approach to EBT theft. They say there are 2 victims: the benefit recipients and you.
There's taxpayers across this state that have to foot the bill for this, that continuously should have an expectation that those that issue out these monies are good stewards of the taxpayer funds.
Gregory says he warned the state about how vulnerable cards are in the past.
5 years? How many millions of dollars have gone? I warned them a couple years ago that EDD has been a slap in the face, and you're running down that same road. Do you want that embarrassment? Do you want to lose your jobs? Because what's going to happen when that hits?
Many viewers reached out to ABC 10 suggesting that this theft is happening internally. Kevin suspects that too.
This is going to sound terrible. This has got to be an inside job. There is somebody at least who is very familiar with how that process works.
What would you say to those people who feel like Is this an inside job?
I think that's a fair question, but I think that people are misunderstanding or undereducated on how these thieves are operating. They're literally standing in front of an ATM waiting to withdraw those funds. They need to withdraw them before the client does.
Have investigators ever found county employees committing EBT theft?
Not that we know of. That would be a really horrible situation, but they would be subject to the same prosecution that anybody else would.
The CWFIA says most of the evidence points to organized crime rings that are working up and down the state.
And I can say emphatically, this is not an internal crime. This is organized crime. We are dealing with the criminals. They know the system, they study the system.
County fraud departments are hitting roadblocks trying to investigate crime syndicates throughout the nation.
We're reaching out to our federal partners. We are dealing with Homeland Security, FBI, Secret Service. We are all trying to chase after the same thing, and yet we don't have a central resource to even run a picture through to say, has anyone nationwide ran into this person?
The CWFIA says county fraud departments are calling each other to cross-reference information. They'd like to see a central database to help track crime trends and reports.
We have reached out locally to our state asking for this resource. It has not gotten us any traction. We have 0 people raising their hands to answer this call.
As more reimbursements are issued, investigators say it gets harder to look into this crime. For some, there's an easy fix: chip card technology. Currently, no states issue EBT cards with chips. Federal regulations direct states to use EBT cards with magnetic stripes only. California is working to be the first to update restrictions and allow chip and tap technology, which is expected in the summer of 2024.
They will tell you that we're the first state that's implementing chip cards. They're very happy to hang their hat on that. What if I told you the chip cards are at risk already?
The CWFIA says field investigators have seen thieves jam chip readers so people are forced to swipe their cards, which results in their information being stolen.
What we know about criminals is that they're going to try and use new technology to combat new technology. And so we need, from a federal level, protections and security the same way we protect credit cards.
Investigators and recipients want the state to implement a 2-step authentication process to access accounts or allow recipients to verify their purchases in the app. But for now, millions of card holders are doing the best they can, hoping their cards work.
Just have my fingers crossed this time that I'm not going to get robbed again. And it is that feeling of being robbed. It's hard enough I'm trying not to get emotional. It's hard enough to have to be on assistance.
But that family recipe filled with trust, encouragement, and understanding still gives him faith.
I honestly can't wait until I have a job where I feel productive again, where I can feel proud again. I can't wait till I don't have an EBT card anymore. It means I have a job.
And we did reach out to the state for an interview. They declined, but they did answer our questions about this story. And if you receive EBT benefits, the Department of Social Services launched a new app at the end of last year called EBT Edge. And within that app, card holders are able to freeze their cards, change their PINs, and block out-of-state transactions. And as for the chip cards, the state says that they expect to implement them starting in the summer of 2024. They say all card recipients will receive a new one with the chip, and you can find out more about these protections in this story on our website, abc10.com/to-the-point. And of course, I have to mention that we got dozens of emails from you, our viewers at home, telling us about your EBT benefits being stolen. I just want to say I deeply appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to reach out to us and for speaking with us. We know that this is a very big issue, and we are definitely not done covering it yet. So if you have questions about EBT theft, make sure you let me and the team know by sending us an email, or you can always text us at 916-321-3310. We'll be right back after this short break. California's insurance commissioner unveiled a new proposed rule today, and it could lead to more accurate pricing for homeowners insurance. And the regulation would allow insurance companies to use forward-looking catastrophe modeling when asking to raise rates. And currently, companies are only allowed to use historical data, which they say don't allow them to set prices on a more accurate, granular level. And this comes as a major companies in California homeowners insurance market, they have limited business that they do in our state. state, and they cite the risk of wildfires, the rising cost of materials to rebuild a house, and a need for updated state regulations.
Rates are high. Competition is non-existent for the most part. So we are going to see that. As these regulations start going into place, and as the carriers start entering the market and start competing with one another, we know what happens when all the carriers come back, then premiums will start coming down. I wish it would happen faster.
One consumer group worries the newly proposed regulation is not transparent enough. So tomorrow on To the Point at 6:30, Becca Habegger dives into what this could all mean for homeowners. And we know that we covered a lot of different stories tonight. So as a reminder, you can always watch our full show again and find further information on abc10.com, on our YouTube page, and make sure you visit abc10.com/tothepoint. And if you have something you think we should be looking into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. We love telling your stories, and you already know, we love getting to meet you too. Remember, strangers are just people we haven't gotten to know yet. So take the time to get to know someone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.